Welcome to the channel Tesla versus World. In this video, we'll be reviewing a few of the updates about the refresh models Tesla has made on their website, mostly focused on the Model X Plaid versus long range. But let's first go to the images that you are probably familiar with, and then I want to discuss a few of the new, more intriguing items. So when you first go to Tesla.com, this is what you're seeing. The default goes straight to the Model S. I would like to switch over to the Model X, which it defaults to the Plaid. Now, when we're going through these images, you'll see it's all the ones you've already seen. All new interior, showing a few highlights about the new screen, how it's horizontal versus vertical, the yoke steering wheel, the wireless charging bay area there. And then it gets into a couple of highlights talking about these screens, the yoke steering wheel, again, the HEPA filter, and the new tri-zone temperature controls without the vent showing, which is pretty neat. Now, as we go down further, it does highlight the wireless gaming and the 10 teraflop processing power and the stay connected with the multi-device Bluetooth, wireless, and USB charging for every passenger, which is pretty neat. Every passenger. Interesting to see how the third row will play for those who choose the 6 and the 7-seater option. And then you get into the best audio system, 22 speaker with the active noise canceling. Now, of course, Plaid showing beyond ludicrous with the 1,020 horsepower, 9.9 second quarter mile, and 2.5 second 0 to 60. Big deal. Now, you can change here from the long range to the Plaid, showing the difference between the platforms and what that does to the vehicle from an overall peak power standpoint. But this is the first area where we get into it showing the Falcon wing doors, but it doesn't actually show you an image. It only shows you a simple drawn picture here. So kind of interesting that it doesn't show what they look like open. Now when we get into the drag coefficient, it does talk about how it has been designed to be more efficient for better speed and range, which is exciting for everybody because of course we're all looking for more range when we move to an electric vehicle chassis. Now the new wheels and tires, this is an area I will mention a little bit later on in this video, but it does talk about there being new performance tires to deliver better handling and ride quality with lower rolling resistance and paired with new aerodynamic wheels for an updated look. I love the new look of the wheels. I think they're going to be great. I'm interested to know what tire they're going to be using, but it does mention multiple times about aerodynamics, and then we get into some additional exterior surfaces that are also designed to become a more aerodynamic vehicle. And with that, they're trying to continue with some slight refined styling on the exterior. Of course, I think a lot of people wanted to see some more changes, but I think going to the matte look on the trim pieces did help liven up the vehicle. I know a lot of people do chrome deletes on their Model X's and S's for that matter, but now that Model 3, Y, X, and S will come standard with the chrome delete, that's a pretty exciting feature. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch up to something that I thought was new and I'm excited to show you, but you have to click on the Order Now button in order to see these features. So when you go to the Order Now, the first area to click on is Feature Details. Now right here, you're just kind of showing the highlight of the long range versus the Plaid and the pricing difference. But this Feature Details button really gets into some new things that I haven't seen highlighted in other videos or talked about on Twitter or any of those pages that are reviewing Tesla changes on a day-to-day basis. So this first area at the bottom, it at first gives you an overview of the specs. So of course, long range being a 3.8 0 to 60, and then the Plaid 2.5 second with the updated range. Interestingly enough, it still shows a lower range than the pre-refreshed 2021 versions. I know this is still going to be in 2021, but now they're going to be refreshed. The top speed highlighted here. And then, of course, the Plaid now being a tri-motor where the long range is a dual motor. And that's a big, interesting piece of information. But where I thought I'd like to highlight, and I kind of talked about this earlier, is the wheels and tires. When you get through this short paragraph talking about the powerful efficiency, you'll see that it says the indicated Plaid top speed requires proper wheels and tires, which will be available in fall 2021. Now, I find that quite interesting because it talks about the new models being delivered with these tires and wheels on the main page. However, in this small short paragraph, it mentions that it's going to have wheels and tires delivered in fall of 2021, which makes me question whether or not Tesla is ready to deliver vehicles with these new 22-inch wheels and tires that they highlight on the main page. So it'll be interesting to see how these get delivered, hopefully sometime in March or April as discussed by Elon, but we won't really know if they come with these new wheels and tires until one does get delivered. And at the moment, nobody has an estimated delivery date. We only see some months of range on the main website. Now, the next part, it just highlights the all-wheel drive system, and then it discusses the basic autopilot feature, which it also makes me kind of wonder if they're phasing out the enhanced autopilot, which used to be an option, because it's now saying basic autopilot included with every new Tesla. Autopilot enables your car to steer, accelerate, and brake automatically for other vehicles and pedestrians within its lane. So, pretty neat that they are continuing to enhance just a basic autopilot feature and not forcing people to purchase that full self-drive, which at the current moment is a $10,000 premium to add on to your vehicle. You can buy at the purchase or after you purchase the vehicle. And they also are talking about some subscription models for that full self-drive, so that'll be neat to see what that looks like in the future as well. Now we're going to the next tab here, which shows the easy charging. And with 175 miles in 15 minutes on a supercharger, I think that's pretty great. That is going to help people not have as much range anxiety when they're going on those long trips, or even if you're just doing some daily driving and you want to stop by one of the local superchargers in your area, that's going to put a lot of range in a short amount of time. With the Century Mode tab here, I think it's supposed to have some newer updates, which I've seen on some other videos talking about how they have tried to integrate a camera on the inside, which should help for some more real-world footage on the interior in case of a theft or an accident. It'll be great to see what's going on in the vehicle rather than just the side, front, and rear angles that you get from the existing cameras. Now, this was a big one for me, just the fact of having a visual of what the Falcon wing doors look like. And it talks about how the front doors automatically open as you approach with your phone. So that's nothing new, but a feature that people love with their Model X's and S's. And then you can easily close the driver's door with a tap of a brake pedal and control the Falcon wing doors, front trunk, and rear liftgate from the center display or your Tesla app. Now, what it doesn't mention is a key fob. And I know that the Model 3 and Y don't come with a key fob. It's that small card, credit card size deal, or you can use your phone. But I think a lot of Model X and S owners hope and anticipate to have a key fob included with their delivery. So it would be kind of a downfall if Tesla decides to phase that out for these new refresh versions. Now, the next picture is another area that I think is intriguing on these refresh models, and just the lack of talking points on their website about how the interior is going to look. So it mentions the rear storage offering a 91 foot of cargo space, including a secure front trunk, but it does right here highlight the front trunk can fit a full-size carry-on suitcase, and the rear seats can fold flat at the press of a button, opening the rear cargo area under the floor storage for maximum flexibility to fit any lifestyle. The reason why I think that is an interesting sentence is it doesn't differentiate if only the 5 and 7 seater as in the current models, can fold flat, or if they've figured out a way to get that six-seater to be able to fold flat. I think if they've figured that out, we would see a lot of additional revenue going to Tesla because people do prefer and love the six-seater model, but they dislike the fact that they can't fold it down when they're going on those camping trips, or if they want to just load up some larger things into their vehicle, they're limited by the six-seater because they can't fold down that second row. So that would be, again, a big improvement for Tesla if that does come out that way. And then the last tab here is simply the Tesla mobile app and talking about what that looks like, which I don't see anything new on this tab. Now, when I go back to the order page here, and I'm going to click on the long range, I wanted to make another small observation that I saw. When you are clicking or scrolling down through the page and you get to this interior, you'll notice a couple of things. Of course, they're highlighting the yoke steering wheel and then the horizontal screen, which I mentioned earlier in the video, but then you can also see a little bit of the perforation on these seats in the front, and I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit right here in the middle for the long range. And it doesn't matter if you have the black interior, white interior, or the cream interior. The only thing that changes besides the color of the seats is the wood trim. If with the cream it's a walnut decor, with the white it is a also looks like it's walnut, and then it's ebony on the all black. But here's something that I haven't seen anybody else highlight yet, and that's when you click on, scrolling back up, the Plaid version, and you scroll back down to that interior page, you'll notice that there is now additional ventilation on the side bolsters of the seats. And in the main Tesla page, it does talk about ventilation coming back. Of course, we haven't had ventilation in the Model X since 2016 when they phased it out. So I'm curious as to why they're showing additional ventilation holes on the Plaid version for the side bolsters and not on the long range version. I'd love to hear what your comments are on this, so if you have one, please just put it down below and we can discuss it amongst each other. The other area that I want to show here is this feature details for the interior, which gives a couple of nice highlights. So when we're looking at this interior section, first it shows the panoramic windshield, which is an iconic feature for the Model X. I think a lot of people love that feature and would be very upset if that ever went away. Now, it goes to the second tab here, discussing the interior layouts, and it says, again, Model X offers 5, 6, 7 seat configuration options, each enabling a functional and comfortable cabin experience. It again does not mention or differentiate whether or not that second row can be folded flat for the 6-seat interior. So if it does fold flat, again, I think this is going to be a big improvement for the Model X on the refresh version. Now, going to the next page, it does mention the three displays as shown, and between the next two tabs, it kind of just highlights those. But you are seeing the yoke steering wheel again, which has been quite controversial. I know a lot of people are positive on the idea of the yoke steering wheel, and some people are saying that it's going to be too dangerous and it'll never get approved. I myself hope that it does get approved. I think it's a great look. It does give you the futuristic look of what full self-driving is going to become. And then I do love the fact that we still have the driver display right front and center for us to see the speed and whatever else it's indicating on that screen. Now you do have the horizontal center screen here, and it makes mention when we look at this first highlight or this first sentence that there is a left and right tilt to the new center display, and I think that's also a big improvement. As we know, the Model 3 and Y currently do not have that feature. It's just stationary, and with the old Model X, it was just a stationary vertical screen, slightly tilted to the left. So my assumption with this is that if you're at a supercharger or you're just taking a break from driving and you have a passenger who wants to play a game or watch a movie or even help you pull up some GPS directions and navigate for you, that might be why there is that right tilt versus just the left only tilt. So I think that's a great feature. And now, of course, it highlights again gaming from anywhere. Of course, we have the Tesla Arcade, which people do enjoy. I don't think it gets enough attention, but Tesla continues to add games and make it an important part of what full self-driving can eventually become. A little bit scared to see people gaming on the road, but kind of a cool idea and concept in the meantime. Now, with it having 10 teraflops of processing power, I expect that this new system is going to be very little delay, super smooth, and of course you could see the USB-C ports right here, which it did talk about every passenger having the ability to charge. So again, another great update and feature there. Now, this screen, just the tri-zone climate controls, it talks about how there are no physical vents shown, which again, I love. I think it gives a premium feel. A lot of people are looking forward to that. And it's really interesting, the center one in front of the driver coming out of that screen. I don't really see anywhere that, if I'm going to scroll back a little bit, anywhere that there's a slot for that. So interested to see what that looks like in person. But again, the design works perfectly. It's supposed to be not visible to the naked eye, and it can very quickly cool you down with the air coming out directly where your face is and not being blocked by a large steering wheel. Which again brings me back to the yoke steering. It's highlighted here, no stalks, no shifting. With a stockless steering yoke, you can enjoy both the best SUV to drive and the best SUV to be driven in. So people are looking forward to that. I think the idea of no stocks is a little bit concerning to people because it did mention how the Tesla can figure out which way to go based on where you're driving and where your car is positioned. Luckily, they did talk about an override function with some buttons, and we did see some sneak peek pictures of potential buttons in the middle of the dash on the Model S. I haven't seen anything leaked out for the Model X yet, but interested to see what that looks like. Now, going to the 22 speaker audio, we talked about that earlier, and it just again re-highlights the fact that there is a great amplified system with audio features and new microphones that enable noise canceling. Now, the last tab on this interior features summarizes everything in a text form, and I'm just going to go ahead and read a few of these to highlight. But the third one down, it talks about the actual size of the display. So the 17-inch center display, which I think many of us know, but I didn't realize that it would be a 12.3-inch driver's display, which is quite large, and then an 8-inch second row display. Now, where that display in the second row is positioned has also been kind of controversial, because if you do have small children or just people who aren't typically aware of their surroundings and they go into your Model X and are crossing over the middle, people are getting worried that that's going to get kicked. So I'm sure that screen protectors are going to be probably pretty important for that second row, but love the idea of it. And again, talking about the 10 teraflops of processing power for gaming is great. Now, wireless controller capability, I think we have seen some people figure out ways to modify that. So I'm curious to know if Tesla is going to roll out a Tesla branded wireless controller that they can sell. I think a lot of people would buy that, and it would make it a little bit more fun. Going to the comfort area, it does mention the panoramic windshield again, but it now highlights that it's ultraviolet and infrared protected on all glass. So the concept of needing ceramic tint, I don't know. I love that it's protected. I'm sure that it's still going to let a lot of sunlight in on that front area, so I'm sure people are going to want to tint their windows and maybe even add some ceramic tint to help with the actual heat coming through. It mentions the heated seats for every passenger and heated steering wheel and heated windshield. Of course, the ventilated front seating. I do wish that the rear passengers would get some ventilation, but of course, that's not typical in any vehicle or manufacturer of vehicles. And the HEPA air filtration system is still here, which is great. And then the ambient lighting, which I'm interested to see if there was any design changes. I'm hoping that they do a more streamlined version like what you're seeing in your Audis and your Mercedes, where you can change the colors. I think a lot of people like that. Maybe not necessarily a party feature, but just the idea of what people prefer to have inside of their car and change that functionality and color would be a great little addition. Now the convenience, automatic opening of closing and front doors, so the self-presenting front doors, and then the ability to close your doors from the screen. Of course, everybody loves that. The sliding cup holders and storage, curious to see what that looks like. I think a lot of people had issues with where those cup holders were previously positioned on the non-refresh versions. So hoping that they made a couple of changes and took some feedback from the many folks that were commenting on that design. Now, right here it does mention that phone key again. So no mention of a key fob. Really hoping that there is a key fob for the Model X and the Model X, but haven't seen that mentioned yet. And then the last part is just your premium connectivity in talking about what your complimentary connections include. And it does say internet browser new features that become available after delivery may be subject to additional charges. So wondering what that's going to be or what that will look like. I know that they've talked about potentially having a Tesla app store. I don't know if that's just a rumor or if it's actually something that's going to come down the future state. But I'm hoping that if you have these premium versions of the vehicles, that they give that to you for no cost. Or better yet, anybody who currently owns a Tesla, give that to them for no cost. And then for future models, it could be a subscription edition that they have to pay for. Now, the last thing I will say before ending this video is just the estimated delivery time is showing May through June. So there is no week turnaround like on the Model S, which currently states 4 to 11 weeks, but it doesn't state a month. On the Model X, it's stating May through June as the estimated delivery. Now, I know when we ordered our Model X Plaid back in November, we'd originally had an estimated date of December 15th through the 31st until the refresh version was out. And that date has moved multiple times. It showed February, it then showed March, and now we just show nothing on our account. So hoping to, again, get some solidification around when these Model X's and S's will be delivered. People are really excited about it. There's a lot of momentum around existing owners of Teslas and also new owners of Teslas looking forward to that delivery. So that only leaves me the one question of, do you think that they're going to deliver the long range or the Plaid first? I myself, being a little bit selfish, would love to see the Plaid because that's what I ordered back in November. Well, I ordered the Performance, but I'm waiting for a Plaid now. So hoping that I can see that sometime in March or April. But if it is May or June for everybody, depending, no matter what your order date is, it's going to be another long couple of months upcoming. So while you're commenting on what you think there's going to be delivered first, if you are down there, would you please like, subscribe, and share our video? We'd appreciate it. And until next time, thank you for watching Tesla vs. World.